you on the map. This is Ron Costa broadcasting live in the Mappable USA studios in Las Vegas, Nevada. Folks, today we're going to be talking about how blockchain gets into some really interesting applications. We're going to bring it to tie it to sports like no one's ever done before. So I'm really psyched about this podcast. Hey, let's bring in Vicky Hutchmala from the WorldTokenMarket.com. Vicky, what's going on today?
Oh, hey, Ron. Another perfect day in Las Vegas. And, you know, I say this every time, every podcast. Perfect day in Las Vegas. I don't know what would happen if it wasn't a perfect day in Las Vegas. I think we'd all be in trouble then. But I'm excited today because we have somebody different, a podcast that's going to talk about something different and the possible applications of the blockchain and something nobody would have thought of. I'm excited.
Same here. Okay, well, let's bring in our guest. Let's welcome Garrick Jones. Garrick is the co-founder of the State Developmental Football League. Garrick, how you doing today?
I'm good, Ron. How about yourself?
Oh, pretty good. I mean, like you said earlier, I woke up today, so it's all good. It's all good, right?
Right. Absolutely, my man.
Yep. So, this is really funny. We're going to tie this podcast into sports. This is really a very interesting time of the year because, we just finished NHL hockey. We just finished the basketball. We got the World Series going on. And, of course, football is in full swing. So everybody's into some kind of sports. And I really like you've got something going on with sports as well. But before we get into that, why don't we just get into a little bit of your background and what you're doing and how you got to be where you are right now?
Okay. Well, my name is Garrick Jones. I'm a veteran of 3 different professional leagues. I had the opportunity to travel across the U.S. To get the opportunity to play in the NFL. And, through doing that, I had to learn a lot of different things when it came down to relaying my mind state, how to present myself, how to really market and promote everything that I was doing and get them to really respect my grind and my hustle. All those different things, but even in doing that, less than 1% of all athletes across the world make it to the NFL, and I happen to do it, and I was one of the guys that took the long way to get there, but it taught me so much, and it gave me the opportunity to learn about business and learn about branding and marketing and even got into finances because I had to think about retirement before I even made it to the NFL, and even in then with that mind frame, I had to really go through everything that the NFL had to offer when it came down to just really the resources and relationships that I was able to amass over the years. But for me, man, I've always had an entrepreneurial mindset. I've always been in business for myself in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And I've always looked at life after the lights. And that's where I am today, really trying to help these athletes learn how to take care of their families and create, residual income and generational wealth. And that's really been my focus, really teaching the families that these athletes come from, how to be self-sufficient and take care of their families from the grave. And that's really what it's been all about for me, man. I mean, I'm in the process of, wanting to be a general manager candidate in the NFL because I think, I bring a different type of skill set to the table that, everyone can learn from, and increasing bottom lines for teams and having that same hunger and mentality that I had when I was a player that is infectious and can lead to a Super Bowl. So I got a lot on the table, man. I have a lot going on, but I'm excited about life and excited about where we are in these times, even though we got these economic downturns and you got COVID-19 going on and all those different things. But this is an opportunity to make the history that other people read about. So that's my mentality.
Well, that's great. A lot of people just think that athletes, you need to be strong, you need to know how to play whatever sports you're playing, and that's it, and then you're famous and you make a lot of money and you live happily ever after. But there's a whole lot more to being an athlete in general, and especially a superstar athlete. You need to know a lot more, and that appears to be what you are trying to help your fellow sports athletes try to do.
Oh, absolutely, Vicky. That's one of the things that it's all about teaching from testimony. And my thing has always been to give back and just really bring along, and mentor the younger generation. And I figured, sports would help me do that because I always looked at NFL as a platform to do bigger and better things. And that's essentially what this thing is all about. Anything that I touch, I want to be able to leave a lasting impression, and I want to be able to, set things up and be a template. So it's duplicatable, to where now these athletes can go out and they can leverage what they've done on the field because whether you're a Pee Wee All-American or an All-Pro in the NFL, you have a following. And with that following, you can create the biggest social impact and just really teach people. And that's what this thing is all about with me. It's just making sure that everybody's in a good space.
Yeah, that's special.
Thank you.
And then tell us how you kind of stumbled onto this whole blockchain technology, which you're using as a backbone for all this work that you're doing.
Well, when it came down to blockchain, for me, my league has always been a league that we felt like we were ahead of the curve because we implemented financial literacy, business. We implemented test taking. We implemented insurances. We implemented as many different aspects to the league as possible when it came down to residual income and just education. And with that, we've always looked at ways that we can have, more of a futuristic approach when it came down to it, because we knew that, leagues and professional sports, they are essentially recession-proof. Because as long as there's an NFL, there's always going to be somebody trying to get there. And around 16,000 athletes yearly are draft eligible for the NFL, but only 256 will get that call, right? So we knew that the numbers were always going to be there, but we always look for different programs that we can intertwine and infuse business in the practices of the actual gameplay. And that's where our formula came from and our proprietary recipe. We wanted to include blockchain. We wanted to talk about, digital currencies. We wanted to talk about tokens, but we also wanted to introduce those to the athletes and educate them on it. So when they're done playing, they're in that space. And that's what it's all about because everybody won't go to the NFL, but 100% of these athletes and their families are going to have bills, babies, and problems. So we wanted to incorporate all of these aspects in, and that's essentially where it came from, just exposing the athletes and their families to these things and these practices and educating them on it. And that's where the blockchain would fit into it, the different aspects of the programs that you can set up, all those different things. We've always looked at that, and that was essentially where we were back in 2011 when we established the league. Just wanted to be ahead of the curve. I mean, because compared to what we do, everything else is just football. And our thing is free enterprise plus football equals the SDFL.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of people playing college football. I'm sure, they all want a taste of the NFL, but there's only so many spots. So, what happens to all those other guys that don't make it? They still have to do something too.
Absolutely. And that we just wanted to be a funnel, if you will, to get these athletes and teach them and build them up on the field, but understanding that everybody can't go because it's a numbers game, and only a select few will make it. And that's what I saw when I was in the NFL and when I was in the CFL. There's only so many spots allotted, so we wanted to make sure that our league was going to grow and be scalable, but at the same time be able to have as many different revenue streams and channels incorporated in this thing where all the athletes can touch it. The fans could even touch some of the profit sharing and the different programs that we're going to bring to the table. So it's all about innovation because we know we're going to have the numbers every year,
Yeah, yeah. So how does tokenization, that whole process, how does that help the athlete?
Well, it helps them in a few ways. It gives them a platform where they can look to invest. They can look to monetize their followings, the different things that they do. It gives them an opportunity to really work their brand and really monetize their brand. So as many different opportunities as you can give these athletes to monetize their brand and what they do and their likenesses and all those different things, it just makes sense because there's only so many different ways that you're going to get paid if somebody's paying you. Like if you're an employee, right? Your boss will never pay you enough to live next door to them. They have their hierarchy and those types of things. So we wanted to just give them the power, but at the same time the families as well. And that's where a lot of the revenue that we would be, generating for the league would come from, because we would, get commissions off of different structures from compensation plans, different programs, all those different things. So outside of just ticket sales, parking, concessions, and merchandise, we would have all these different ancillary programs going and running at the same time, to where 365 days a year we're generating revenue, whether we're in season or off season. And we just wanted to be that model for these other leagues, and especially with the NFL, to be able to run congruent with them and show them that we can be a feeder system for them, because they can't house our athletes. But if you have a system set up that's teaching these athletes how to monetize their brands, those guys can make a lot of money. And then, from there, those monies can be overridden in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So it just made sense, man. It's just like, how can we intertwine these things? And we said, let's go for it and make it real,
Yeah,
well,
so
the platform that we're talking about is called the Global Fan Exchange, and it was created by Horizon-Fintech, which is a very reputable company. What made you decide to work with them to put this vision into reality?
Well, the thing that I saw was innovation, and I'm always forward thinking. I'm always trying to figure out how to be able to monetize, what it is that the athletes do. As a former professional athlete, I got paid well, but unfortunately I didn't get paid what I was worth. And that's by design. I get that. That's by design. But also, when you're done playing, you have to be able to continue the revenue that you were making, whether it be the NFL, the CFL, the NHL, MLB, it could be MLS, it could be anything, right? It could be any sport. And I wanted to really incorporate what they had going on, because it was just so forward thinking in regards to almost like an S&P for athletes, and people being able to buy into those stocks from various athletes. And with the new rulings in college football, in college athletics and those types of things, where they can start monetizing their images and likenesses, it just made sense, because I saw different shifts coming. And then when I saw that platform, I said, you know what, I think this would be a good fit for not only my developmental league, but for athletes that are looking to go pro, that have an opportunity to go pro, guys that are currently in the NFL or NBA or whatever space they're in, and also the former guys, where you can take what you've done in the past and monetize it. And it just made sense. I mean, the platform was a beautiful situation when I saw it. And now that I'm actually, working with the company and learning more about it and bringing more people to the table in regards to business development, man, it's a no-brainer, because realistically, like I say, professional sports, and people saw it when we didn't have sports during COVID. It was a bleak time, and it's still bad now, but sports gives you an outlet, and it's really a recession-proof model, and it's just that. So you want to be able to capitalize on that and just change the world with it.
That's right.
Yeah. During this whole COVID thing, when we were all locked down with no sports, I think I binged 24 seasons of Law and Order SVU.
Exactly, right? And probably put on about 20 or 30 pounds in the process. So
exactly.
It's rough.
And never took a shower for 3 days.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh man, okay, we got to stop that now.
Well, Horizon is definitely a forward-thinking company, and what they do is top of the line for sure. I think what's nice about this also is it's not just the athletes that can be involved, whatever sport you are involved in, but also fans can get involved. So kind of give us an idea of how the fans can also be involved in the whole process.
Right. So fan engagement is paramount. I've always been a big advocate for fans, because I saw sports, from a fan perspective. I saw sports from a player's perspective, and I've seen sports from an upper management perspective. So fan engagement, to me, is a priority. And that's what I saw with this particular platform. it gives the fans the opportunity to invest in these athletes that they've watched, play ball, whether it be from college or we'll go even further back than that, maybe from junior high, going into high school, then to college, and then the professional ranks. It gives these people the opportunity to really support the athletes, and as the athletes mature and as they grow and as their brand grows, you're able to watch your bottom line increase, with your dividends and those types of things. So, it's just like anything else with, let's just say Tesla or anybody, with the stock and how that works. You put your money in early, and that thing skyrockets, and you can double, triple, and quadruple what you've invested. So it's just one of those things where it's a model where you can really get behind an athlete and really support them. And as they grow and as they mature and as they do more things in and out of that sport, you get the chance to watch your money grow and your actual investment. So it's a platform, man, that I've seen, and I looked at it, and I've looked at other platforms and programs, and this one just blows everything out of the water because it's so interactive with how they have the app set up, and you're able to watch those different athletes and their stocks rise and fall and just get behind them, man. So you're more intertwined with it, and it's more interactive. And that's some of the things that I think when it comes down to fan engagement, the more interactive it is, the better, because they are a part of the process now. So they're a part of the team, and they get a chance to watch the things happen real time.
So you don't have to be a professional athlete per se. You can participate in the platform even if you're up and coming.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is, if you are leveraging your brand, and this is some of the things that I teach our athletes and some of the things that we teach the people that we touch, it's all about leveraging your brand. And I'll go back to what I stated earlier, whether you were a Pee Wee All-American or an All-Pro, you have a following that can be monetized. And the more people that you touch, via social media, via word of mouth, your resources and relationships, your networks, the more people begin to talk about you and the more people begin to show people what's going on, it becomes viral. And that's similar to, what I'm doing with my general manager push for the NFL. I wanted to involve the fans, and now it's proof of concept. So that's exactly what the situation is. You can have an up-and-coming athlete, and they're really leveraging their brand and what they're doing in college. That particular college has alumni. That particular college has fans. That particular college has students that follow that athlete. And as that athlete matures, they go to another space and into another space. And those spaces have a built-in audience in which those people cling to those athletes, and they become family. And as they become family, they want to support them. And at the same time, they can turn around and they can make a profit from all the different things that they're doing. So it's a win-win for everybody.
It really is, yeah. Let's kind of take this through a timeline now. So, for example, let's say I'm a high school quarterback for it, and I'm being recruited by a college. Nobody knows who I am, basically, other than the people who are actually doing the recruiting. And now all of a sudden, I make the college team. And again, other than the college place and maybe a few industry experts, not a lot of people know who I am exactly. How does that whole process start now? This guy monetizes his name, or through tokens? Is that the way this works?
It would be his name. It would be his image and likeness. It would be the things that he's done on the field. Because like I say, once you are recruited and you sign with the school, that school fan base is automatically your fan base. So everything multiplies. So he may have been a star athlete in, a town of maybe 500 people. That 500 people follow him because he's the local town hero. Once he signs with a college, now that 500 is now put into, let's just say, 250,000 or maybe even 1 million people. So as that athlete progresses now with this particular platform, those fans can invest in him, invest in in his maturation, and as he continues to go through the ranks, now let's just say he's a Carson Wentz type of guy. Went to a small school, but now he's being drafted, in the first round. Now all of a sudden his stock rises, So it's all predicated on the work that's put in. It's predicated on, the different aspects of those different spaces. But ultimately, you don't have to be a first-round draft pick to have 1 million followers, right? It's all about you leveraging what you've done, and the more people that you have that follow you and you influence in some way, shape, form, or fashion, your stock rises. And that's what this thing is all about. And it's all about teaching them how to leverage their brand, because they are a brand within a brand. And once athletes understand that, it's off to the races.
Yeah, so the token itself, it's tied to the future earnings of the athlete?
Yes. So with the future earnings and those types of things, so it's a lot of different nuances to it. But, for the sake of, just the argument in layman's terms, it's tied to just the I want to say the maturation of that athlete and more things that they do. It makes it more easier for them to now and the fans to make more money because that athlete is really getting out there and doing a lot of things.
Yeah. And I would imagine this would be amazing for an athlete that kind of flies under the radar, too, somebody who's not even drafted or drafted in the later round, all of a sudden makes it big in the pros. For example, in baseball, some guy like a Mike Piazza, who no one even knew who he was, and he's going to end up in the Hall of Fame, right? So that's a really interesting application for that. But would an established player do this as well, somebody who's already making, $5 million, $10 million a year? Would this appeal to them, too, or do they have their money and say, well, okay, it's already done?
No, it would appeal to them because you always want to have irons in the fire. There's only so long that you're going to be able to play football or play a sport. You can't play forever. So professional sports is the best temporary job you'll ever have. When you're done, you still got the rest of your life to live. So it just makes sense to have things set up that will bring income to you and revenue to you. And it's all about generational wealth and just that establishment and building those things and having this type of platform is another way to have that money coming to you and being able to be passed down to your family and so on and so forth. So, and those are the things that, athletes really need to understand, that you're being paid by somebody when you're playing, and you can't play forever. And there's always going to be somebody younger and cheaper coming each and every year after you. So there'll be a new belle of the ball. So eventually you will be training your replacement. And that's how it works.
Well, and it also can help you, like you say, by branding and marketing yourself when you're starting in high school and into college. That helps you. I would think that's going to give you an advantage when the NFL is out looking to recruit people to their teams. Here you are, you're established, people like you, you're good and everything. So that kind of gives you, as you say, gives you leverage to get into the NFL a bit easier.
That's a great observation, Vicki. Exactly. So those are the things that set you apart from everybody else. I mean, you can have two athletes that are the same skill set, that are the same attributes, all those different things, but you may have one that has leveraged better than the other one. So now those teams can look at it and say, well, look, these guys are pretty similar when it comes down to the physical deal. But this one guy over here, he's killing it when it comes down to marketing and promotion. He's doing things out in the community. He has his philanthropic hats on. We really want to bring him in because now his fans will in turn become our fans, and that's more revenue for the team. And that's
Absolutely.
what this thing is all about. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
It's all cyclical. It all works together. The fans help the athlete brands himself, goes to the team takes advantage of it, and that brings the fans to the team as well as to each individual athlete. It's genius.
Right.
So let me ask you a question, Garrick. One, if I say I'm a high school guy or a college guy and or a woman or a man, whatever sport it is, and I want to be part of it, what do I do? Do I call you and say, hey, Garrett, let's do something?
Right. So it would be a process of evaluating what it is that you have going on, who you are, those types of things, and that would go through Horizon, and they would go through and they would look at everything and figure out the best options. for those athletes at that particular time. So it's an application process, and it's one of the deals where if you're making noise and doing your thing, this is a platform to help you facilitate even more of an impact, and that's what this thing is all about.
Do you mentor them to help them along the way?
Yes. I'm glad you said that. So mentoring, it for me, it is a big deal because I'm in the process of being an agent advisor with Sports Management Worldwide, as well as starting my own sports agency soon, where we're mentors. We're not agents. And the reason I look at it like that is because before that athlete signs their first deal, they need to have 7 streams of income coming in before they sign that first deal with that team. And the reason I look at that is because you want them to have that millionaire mindset, not just of an employee, but you want them to have that ownership mindset. And these are some of the platforms that I'll bring to the table. So the mentoring aspect is essential, is big. It's a premium for me even coming to the table to be able to show these athletes and their families the proof of concept. And that's why I'll go back to, the general manager push with the NFL, with the space that I'm in right now and the things that I've done to be able to go into that world again and have these forward thinkings and these ideas and have this transformational leadership. Everybody needs to see that. So now they have a template that they can follow. And it's all about duplication. So when it comes down to mentoring, being there for the athletes and just showing them the way, because I didn't have these things when I came through. I had to learn really the hard way, but it gave me as far as being a teacher, this is my lesson plan, and this is what it's all about.
Well, and I would just venture to say that a team is going to look for an athlete that is more well-rounded and not only can he play the game, whatever that might be, but he also understands life. He knows how to brand. He knows how to market. And all of this extra education in terms of life success only brings more asset to the team as a whole, because now it's affecting everybody. And then it goes back to the fan as well, because eventually they're going to figure out, well, he's smarter than he can just catch the ball or throw the ball. He knows how to live his life and be successful.
And that's what it's about, teaching from testimony and developing the entire athlete on and off the field, on and off the court, be it a man or woman or whatever we have on. It's all about putting them in a better space than when they came in. And then that's when you get into changing the mindset and having a winning mindset, across the globe now, because these fans get it, these fans see it, and now they begin to implement that in their households. So now it becomes viral, and that's what this thing is all about. That's what it's about.
Is that what you're doing with Huddle Up as well? Is that the purpose of that organization?
Absolutely. So with Huddle Up, a lot of the principles that we just talked about, I'm implementing those in Huddle Up with a lot of these former athletes, because I'm the treasurer of the NFLPA Houston chapter, and there's about 1,500 to 1,600 athletes that live in and around the city of Houston, and we have one of the bigger chapters in the country. So I implement a lot of these programs, and I'm putting a lot of things in play, for our board members, and basically setting it up for these athletes to learn how to have more of a social impact and how to leverage what they've done on the field with their particular teams to bridge that gap between the fans and them, and to bridge the gap when it comes down to making more of an impact in the communities that we serve. So we've been able to do a lot of different things, but since I was elected president, it's been about getting the word out, and now we're finally putting a lot of the programs into play via the NFL Foundation, working with them, with the social impact and social justice reform programs that we have, and then also all these types of programs. I'm implementing those and infusing the entire deal. So now everybody wins, and that's what this thing is about.
I love it. Yeah, it's great. It's really great stuff. Before we close this out, I do have one more question for you on the tokenization aspect of this. First of all, I think it's amazing that if I can find an athlete that I kind of admire or want to follow, all of a sudden I can buy into his development, et cetera. I think that's amazing. But at some point, once this contract becomes tokenized and I get a token, what do I do with the token? Can I sell that token at any point, or do I have to keep it? What's the end game in terms of me, the investor, making money on that?
Well, from what I've seen in regards to the development of the aspect of the app, it's a bit like Robinhood, if you're familiar with that app. Yes. When it comes down to stocks and the purchasing of stocks and those types of things. So what would happen is you would have an app in which now you would be able to have these different athletes that would be a part of the app, and you would be able to put your money into it from a blockchain standpoint. And then from there, as their stock goes up, you would be able to cash out to your wallet and be able to utilize, those monies and those currencies for purchasing of whatever it is that you wanted to do. Now, when it comes down to all the intricacies, I leave that to the expert, Mr. Collins and those guys, and they break those things down. But from what I've seen, just from a vernacular that, I would look at it, it's a lot like a Robinhood type of situation where you're able to buy those stocks and cash out when you're ready for those types of things. So, but it just works. It works.
Yeah, this program works for all sports, not just NFL. I mean, we're talking baseball, hockey, anybody, any. Okay, it's really amazing. I think this is so untapped, and there's so much potential for this that you are really doing. You're in the right spot at the right time. I think. I mean, it's crazy good.
Oh man, and the wild thing about it is, we're all in that space, and it includes everybody. So to get in on the front end of this and be a part of it and understand that there's going to be athletes every year that are trying to make it to the pros, like I say, it's recession-proof. And it's one of the things where you very well could be watching, the number one draft pick, from a junior high standpoint. And you're watching them grow, and you're watching the brand grow. And then to have this type of platform where now, boom, you're able to say, hey, I want to put a couple of dollars into this situation and see where it goes, because, it's essentially, I think going to be one of the bigger platforms in the world. Once we get it going and those types of things.
Although I do have some advice for you, though, Garrick. I think what you should do is move out of Texas, go to New York, sign with the Jets, and get me one win. Just one win.
You know what? And that's the thing about it. I had the opportunity to play for the Jets when I was playing, but I chose to go to Kansas City because I had ties with Willie Rofe and Will Shields and those guys back in the day. But with this general manager push, with all these different teams, with all of the movement and everything that's going on, I mean, there's going to be a lot of vacancies when it comes down to general managers and upper management and those things. So I won't turn a blind eye to any team, to be honest with you. Preferably I'd love to be here with my Texans because this is where my family is, and I've done the living out of the suitcase thing, my whole career. But if the Jets say, hey, man, we like what you're saying, we want you to come in and change the culture, I'd be willing to do that, and my thing is, if we're not talking Super Bowl, what are we talking about? And that's going to be the mentality when I come through the door. I'm talking nothing but Super Bowl and making it happen.
What position did you play when you were playing football?
I played offensive tackle.
Okay,
yeah, both sides. So you have an offensive lineman's mentality coming to the city if they choose to bring me in. So we're gonna put our pads on. We're going to work every day. That's it. That's all I know.
That's how you win ball games, and that's how you win in business as well, right?
That's it. Exactly. Consistency. Hey, we put it in.
So Vicky, what do you think about this podcast? Do you have any final thoughts or questions you want to ask Garrick?
Well, I would say this, Ron. Garrett, there's nothing more exciting than being able to create the wheel of whatever it is that you're creating, and being at the front end and the cutting edge of creating this platform and making it successful for athletes for a better life and fans for bigger participation and even the teams for having more well-rounded players, that's very exciting, and there'll be a lot of copycats that will come along, but you will have been able to show them what works and why it works and how it works, and kudos to you for trusting Horizon-Fintech and jumping on with them to create this, because I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying, that blockchain is the future, and this specific platform is going to be monstrously successful. So kudos to you. That's fabulous.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys for allowing me to ramble this today and talk with you guys. And we look forward to just making that history. And this is what it's about. Let's make it happen.
One last thing before we go. If someone's listening to this, an athlete or whatever, wants to get more information, wants to get involved in the process, Garrick, how do they get a hold of you? Phone or email or website? What do you got?
Well, what they can do is they can just go to a search engine, whichever one they prefer. And what I'm doing is anything that I'm promoting or posting, they can search out the hashtag GJ for GM. So there's GJ, the number 4, GM, hashtag GJ for GM. And they'll find everything that's going on, whether it be the State's Developmental Football League, whether it be my petition to be the next general manager of the Houston Texans, whether it be, the Global Fan Exchange through Horizon. I'm tagging it all, and everything will pop up. So it's pretty straightforward, man. We're making the mark and leaving our mark. So they'll be able to find everything there. All of my profiles and everything, the websites, everything will pop up.
Excellent.
And good luck to you. And I'm sorry, Ron. Let me just say good luck to you, Garrick, on becoming the general manager in Houston, because I think you would be fabulous and you have a lot to bring to the table. And everybody should understand that and go sign that petition.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I really do. I thank you guys again. And man, let's make it happen. Let's make the history other people read about it. It's time. This is our time. And 2021, when we come out of this thing, we need to shine like diamonds and hit the ground running. So let's do it.
Absolutely.
All right, Garrick, thanks again for being a guest on the show. Vicky, thanks for co-hosting the show with me. And, folks, you're listening to the Mappable USA podcast at mappableiusa.com. If you go to that website, you can scroll down. You can see all our syndication sources. You pick the one that you like the best, and you'll never miss another one of our episodes. If you want to be a guest on the show like Garrick was today, there's a guest tab there. You can fill that out. We'll see what we can do about getting you on the show. And if you like what you heard today, we have an email at mappableiusa.com, info@mappableiusa.com. Just send an email to us or just comment on whatever page you're listening to this on right now. So thanks for your support, everyone, and we'll be back at you next week with another Mappable USA podcast. Have a great week, everyone.